So after the bitter disappointment of last week's Sega Mega Drive Collection review, which turned into a eulogy, that thanks to Sega's random decision to remove a massive collection and curation of games from modern consoles, we are going to see if Sega had the chance to redeem themselves. Hi guys, welcome to Blind Man Plays. I am Jared Walters, and this is a series called Modern Retro Gaming, where we are exploring modern retro games on modern consoles, and to see if these collections are any good. For today, we are exploring the Sonic Origins Plus collection. Let's take a look. So the Sonic Origins Plus collection is a curation of 4 of the major Sonic games, which are Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. And first presentation, these are actually really good. They were released back in June of 2023. And are currently available on all major platforms, including Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series and PC. There's also a physical and digital release of the Sonic Origins Plus. The Plus was a downloadable content, adding several Game Gear games to the collection. The Game Gear games added were Sonic the Hedgehog 8-bit, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic Drift 1 and 2, Sonic Labyrinth, Sonic Blast, Sonic Spinball, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Tails Sky Patrol and Tails Adventure. Each game allows save slots and allows you to play as different characters, including Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and with the addition of Amy Rose, Sonic's girlfriend, I do believe. There are several modes that you can play the 4 main games, including Anniversary mode, which basically is a 16:9 remaster of the original Sonic games. You can play the original modes, or you can play a mirror mode, which gets unlocked after you complete each game. And there are also modes such as Story mode, which allows you to play through the entirety of the games in order. The game also offers an updated soundtrack, updated visuals. However, you do have to do a bit of jiggery pokery for that to happen. So there's a lot to unpack here. You are greeted when you load up the game with this absolutely fantastic cutscene, and each of the 4 main games has a end scene and a beginning scene, giving a bit of extra story to the games. I've spent most of my time playing through the Anniversary mode of the 4 main games in the collection, and I've spent a little bit of time with the Game Gear games as well. I will go through the 4 main games, but I'm not going to go through my thoughts of all the Game Gear games, as this would take too long, but I'm going to give some general sort of points of my thoughts and feelings. So, have Sega redeemed themselves? Well, the first thing is, with the omission of Sonic Spinball on Sonic 3D Blast, that was a little bit of a letdown for me. I think adding those 2 games in, really would have made this collection the difference between something good and something special. Yes, we have Sonic Spinball on the 8-bit collection, but oh my god, it is absolutely terrible. Avoid it like the plague. It is awful. I have spent almost like 3 minutes. I would rather watch Batman and Robin then play Sonic Spinball again. It was almost a traumatizing experience. It was so crap. Obviously I'm being slightly facetious here, but we'll get into that later on in the video. So starting off with Sonic 1, these are the best versions of the original Mega Drive Sonic games that you are ever going to play. You don't get a rewind feature like you did with the Sonic Mega Drive collection. However, you do get infinite lives, and when you get free lives or 1-ups, or where 1-ups would have been in the games, you get these emerald crystals that allow you special bonus stages, etc, etc. To be honest, I didn't really sort of pay that much attention, and maybe that's something I'll explore later on when I've played more of the game. I've spent several hours with this so far, but I've completed Sonic 1, and it was like replaying it for the first time. It was nice, it was smooth. The spin dash has been re-added, so when it was introduced in Sonic 2, you can actually play that. Sonic now will actually do the down, and he'll do the old spin dash in the original Sonic game, and it's absolutely, I had a blast playing it. All the major stages are there and are in vibrant colour, and if you turn on the options in the graphical settings such as anti-aliasing, it really does give a smooth 16:9 experience of the original game. This is also the same for Sonic 2, and I had a good experience playing this, going through the various levels, etc. And there's not really much I can kind of add. It's if you like the original Sonic games, if you like Sonic 1 and 2, you will really enjoy these. I suppose the gripes I tend to have start with Sonic CD. There's something about Sonic CD on this version of the game, and for me personally, I found it very hard to play. I don't know if it was just because of my eyesight, and there was just something in that game that just makes my eyes hurt. But I felt like after spending maybe a half hour with it, I had a bit of a headache, and it just felt, I don't know, it just didn't feel very accessible. And I don't know if that was like an eyesight problem, or if that's something that you guys with normal vision then experienced with the game. But I just felt like it was like, I don't know, it kind of give me a sort of feeling of being car sick when I was sort of playing it, and it was just seemed to be lacking something. It was out of the four, it was the version of the game that seemed to be lacking the most, and I can't quite put my finger on what that was. The cutscenes for Sonic CD are updated from the originals. They're kind of updated versions of that, and yeah, I just found the stages were just, I don't know, it was just something as I was playing through them just gave me that kind of like feeling of just, I just didn't feel like, well, I had motion sickness while I was playing them. So I'm not entirely sure what was sort of going on there for me, but for me personally, I really couldn't get into that game. It was just, there was just something about it. My biggest gripe with Sonic 3 and Knuckles is it's kind of two games in one. Now, maybe this is because I'm in the European catchment area, so the PAL regions, and in the PAL regions, I remember Sonic Knuckles, or Sonic and Knuckles, being released before Sonic 3, and you could actually combine the two cartridges to make Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and this is the version that you get to play here. And it would be nice if you could kind of separate them and have like the two experiences, so you kind of know what was Sonic and Knuckles, what was Sonic 3. I don't know if it plays through in order, but I didn't really get the chance to play Sonic 3 that much when it was released. But from what I do remember from other versions I've played, like from, for example, when I've bought like collections before on previous systems, I do remember them being, the Sonic 3 and Knuckles being different from the version of Sonic and Knuckles that I remember playing on my friend's Mega Drive back in 1994. perhaps there's a bit of confabulation there, but it would have been nice just to have them separate. However, Sonic 3 does play really, really well, and I remember that used to be quite a difficult game to emulate. And, you know, overall, it was a really fun game, and it was nice to actually spend some time with Sonic 3 and sort of get into the experience. You know, this was the version of the game where they start to try some of the things that we're seeing in more the modern 2D Sonic games, like the Game Boy Advance games, and perhaps things like Sonic 4 and Sonic Mania. Overall, the collection is really good. It's really well presented, and there's a lot of modes here. There's a lot of stuff to keep you going, keep you entertained, and even though it's just 4 games, there's still quite a lot that would make you want to come back and replay. There's a lot of replayability value here, and the Sonic games have these in general. They are such iconic games that, you know, I can always go back every now and again and pick up Sonic 1 and just play it through for a couple of hours. The same with Sonic 2, and it's now to have that. It's nice to have that experience with Sonic 3. It's a shame about Sonic CD. Now, for me personally, I had a updated version of Sonic CD when on my PlayStation 3. Actually, I've still got it, and that's probably the best version of Sonic CD for me that I've personally experienced. This one I just felt was a little bit lackluster, and even though it didn't feel like much of an update, it felt like they just kept with the original game more, which I can understand from an authenticity standpoint, but it's aged. It hasn't aged as well as the other 3 games, and that really does come across in this collection. You have things like story mode, and you have a museum where you can unlock the game's cover art, you can unlock the soundtrack, you can unlock the cutscenes, and there's cutscenes for like Sonic Mania and things that will give you like a little bit of an enticing view into that game if you ever decide to purchase it. I've never actually played Sonic Mania. It's on my list, but I just haven't got round to it. I haven't got round to buying it. So the other content, the sort of extra content that's provided, it's really nicely curated, and you can tell a lot of love has gone into this. So the downloadable content for this game, which made it Sonic Origins Plus, was the Game Gear games. Now, for me personally, some of my favourite memories are playing the Master System and Game Gear versions of Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and to a certain but lesser degree Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic 1 on the Master System and Game Gear was an absolutely superb game, and I think very much overlooked, and I have explored some of these games on this channel. I will put a link to this in the description below, and whilst I'm saying that, if you are enjoying this video, please feel free to subscribe and give this video a like if this is helping you. So what is the emulation like? Well, on first go, the emulation is awful on the Game Gear. The 8-bit graphics just do not translate that well. However, you do have graphical settings and filters you can play around with, and once you activate things like the anti-aliasing and maybe play around with a few filters, you can get these games looking reasonably good. The emulation does differ from game to game. I have played Sonic 1 and the emulation is pretty decent on that. Sonic 2, I've played worse emulations of Sonic 2 on the Game Gear. Sonic Chaos was pretty good. Sonic Spinball, I just don't know if that was just such a bad game to begin with, or if it's the emulation that's bad, but I couldn't get the controls to work, and it was everywhere. It was an awful experience. And I just didn't enjoy that. But it's good to have those games as part of your collection. So who is this collection for? Well, for me, this is for anyone who wants to experience the very best of what this era of Sonic the Hedgehog has to offer. The main attraction is the 4 main games. The Game Gear games are the bonus. They are sometimes a little bit, difficult to play on a modern system because of the graphical issues and because they are direct ports, and some of those ports maybe haven't aged well, but it's still really, really good to have and play on your modern system if you don't have any other way of playing those games. And I suppose by emulating them you can upscale and you can do more with an emulator than you can with these, but the graphical features and the extra features that they provide do allow for a reasonable level of gameplay where you can enjoy some of these games as much as they were enjoyable originally. Like, for me, having the original Sonic on the Master System / Game Gear, because it's based the same game on both, that is a plus because it's one of my all-time favourite games, and being able just to switch my Xbox on and just play it without sort of having to do anything else, that is a real bonus for me personally. What are my thoughts on the collection? Well, it's no Sega Mega Drive collection. I will tell you that, now. Yes, it's a beautifully and really refined versions of the games that are offered, especially the 16-bit games. However, the emulation that we had on Sonic 1 and 2, Sonic Spinball and Sonic 3D on the Mega Drive collection were good enough for me. And it comes back to the point that I was making last episode, was you don't have to. People could be happy with both. I'm actually happy owning both versions, and having both versions that I can install. If I want a wider Mega Drive collection, I've still got access to Sonic 1 and 2. If I just want to concentrate on the Sonic games, I can install the Origins Plus collection. So it's for those people who really enjoyed those games and really want to go back and experience the best of what those games have to offer. I do feel it's a bit pricey. I felt that I think the original asking price was around $30 to $40, and I actually had it on sale for about half that price. As a sale item, I would definitely recommend it. Paying $30-40, I'm not that much of a fan of these games to actually shell out that much. I would rather pay for another game than this with that amount of money. I'm a bit of a skinflint when it comes to sort of play. I don't mind paying for games, but I love a good bargain, and especially with the cost of living crisis, etc. going on, you gotta take your wins where you can. So this is a good collection. It's a decent collection. You are going to get a lot of gameplay out of this. You're going to get a lot of playability. Even if you've paid full price for it, you're going to get a lot of playability for it. And there's a lot of tweaks and different things to experience that you can tell that love has gone into this game. They haven't just slapped a bunch of old retro games together and gone, there you go, there's a retro game collection. Which, well, we're gonna explore some of those collections in the future, and I might have some controversial opinions about some of those games. Stay tuned for that. But ultimately, this is a really decent collection, probably for Sonic fans on the level of the Cowabunga collection. I feel putting this next to the Mega Drive collection that was taken off the digital storefronts, etc., that it pales in comparison. However, I've had fun with this, and I would recommend it. I would recommend it because it does make these games feel fresh. It does add value to replaying these games, and if this is how Sega are going to go with things like maybe Streets of Rage or Golden Axe later on, moving forward, then I'm all for it. It's a shame we had to lose the Mega Drive collection, but if we're going to get some sort of more updates that are sort of remastered, sort of brought more into the modern era without compromising the original essence of the games, I'm all for it. I think it's a pretty decent it's a pretty decent offering. So, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. I do want to add one last point before I go here on this video, that basically updating from the last video I did on the Sega Mega Drive collection. One way of experiencing this for some players, I'm unfortunately not one of them because I have a Series S, which I record my stuff on, so I don't actually have any physical games anymore. But if you do have an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 4 or 5, you can still get the Mega Drive collection as a physical release. It's only the digital releases that were affected, and as we're kind of going more into a digital market as far as games are concerned, my points about this originally stand. But thank you to those of you guys in the comments of the last video that reminded me about the physical release. And so that is something that I will be checking and making sure I include in future videos when I talk about releases, about what platform specifically they're going to be on and in what ways they were released. The same as the Cowabunga collection. The Cowabunga collection had a physical and a digital release, so I just thought I would update you guys on that. So let me know what your thoughts are about the Sonic Origins Plus collection in the comments section below. Next week we are going to be taking a bit of a different turn, because we're going to go in a bit forward more in time, but also a bit back in time at the same time. So we're going to be looking at the Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy, and for those of you who are Xbox Game Pass subscribers, I know for a fact that this is actually available on Xbox Game Pass at the recording of this video, and we're going to look at, is this still worth the price, and basically look at three of some of the best platformers to have ever come out with the Crash Bandicoot games. So check us out next Thursday for that, guys. Thank you very, very much for the support of this series. We've had some lovely comments and lovely feedback, and it's nice to see, and it's nice to be back with you guys and doing some more content. And we've also reached 300 subscribers as well, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you guys. Also check out Blind Man Plays on TikTok. There's only 3 videos on there at the moment, but I'm going to be sharing some of my personal gaming content on that as well. Mainly just games I'm playing and clips that I just found fun, and I'm just going to be having fun with the TikTok. But I hope you guys check me out over there and enjoy the content that's there. So thank you very much, guys. God bless you. I'll see you soon. Take care.